I now call on the first speaker from the opposition, Mr. Alex Logie from St.Rose Modern Secondary.
Mr. Chairman, honorable judges, opponents, colleagues, timekeepers, audience, good afternoon. Mr. Chairman, let me now refute some statements made by my opponents. The first speaker said that we are uncertain if there is oil in our waters. But Mr. Chairman, numerous studies have been done indicating our potential for oil. Do you think Trinidad and Venezuela will just assume that they don't have oil, that they would have this amount of revenue that they have today? Also, they stated that it pollutes the environment and affects global warming. But although we agree that the earth is warming, can we prove definitively that it is due to carbon dioxide emissions? The earth is clearly going through its usual phase of climate modification. 30 years ago, global cooling was the biggest talk in the town. Right now, it's global warming. Everybody's on the bandwagon. Mr. Chairman, I am honored to lead my team in opposing the motion. Be it accept.
You stated that Trinidad and Tobago has facts to prove to oil exploration, and then you stated that Grenada has facts to prove to oil exploration.
Yes.
What are those references? I have references right here, the United States Geological Service Country Survey of 2003 that proves that Grenada has no source for oil exploration. Thank you.
Worthy opponent. On second thoughts, I will continue and you will hear this in my presentation. Mr. Chairman, I am honored to lead my team in opposing the motion. Be it resolved that Grenada has more to gain by investment in the development of a renewable source of energy than from oil exploration. We believe that oil exploration has numerous benefits. Allow us to define some key terms before I engage in any other intellectual discourse. According to WorldNet, investment is the act of laying out money or capital in an enterprise with the expectation of profit. The Energy Information Administration of the US government views renewable energy sources as those that can be replenished in a short space of time. Nationmaster.com defines oil exploration as a search by petroleum geologists for hydrocarbons such as gas and oil beneath the Earth's surface. Our plan of action is as follows. I will give you the historical evidence that validates oil exploration, as well as some economic benefits of this venture. The second speaker will highlight further benefits as well as some major impediments of renewable sources. And the third speaker will give a synopsis of our presentation. Is there oil in our waters? Are we kidding ourselves? For the naysayers, let me enlighten you. In 1967, the American company Westrans began conducting seismic surveys around Grenada and found that there were good prospects in areas that had oil and gas deposits. The World Bank financed 2 UNDP projects to conduct seismic and magnetic surveys under 2 previous governments and recommended that the creation of an energy department, the recruitment of a geologist and a petroleum expert. Do you think that the World Bank will finance a project like this if the likelihood of oil in our waters was just a fantasy? In fact, this study shows that there are 3 offshore areas with high hydrocarbon potential. 1, Caracolito High, southwest of Grenada. 2, the area just of Point Salines. And 3, south of Carriacou and east of Grenada. Interestingly,
point information.
Accept.
You said that there were oil, they said that there were oil at the coast of Point Salines. Isn't the airport at Point Salines, if we set up an oil rig there, when planes come in, they have to remove the airport, and that will cost more money for the country?
Worthy opponent, excuse me if I may sound rude, but what you just said is a serious case of mouth open and words jump out. Because Grenadians in their correct sense of mind...
Point of information.
I decline. Grenadians in their right sense of mind will not look to put up an oil rig right where planes are going and coming within the island. That would be senseless. I continue. Interestingly, between October 07 and February 08, Petro-Canada, a petroleum company, applied for a license to explore a major oil field in Block 22 in Grenada waters. That is, southeast of Westerhall and northwest of Tobago. It previously applied for a license in Trinidad and struck oil. So these people don't apply for licenses on assumptions, but on grounded facts and research. We have oil and gas. Barbados produces 1,000 barrels of oil per day. Trinidad, 134,000. Venezuela, 3 million barrels of oil per day. So are we to believe that 3 of our neighbors are endowed with this black gold, and we are not? Our opponents may try to deceive you into believing that oil exploration is costly. But when oil companies apply for licenses, they are the ones bearing the cost of the exploration and drilling. The government will receive revenue without having to spend 1 red cent. The oil companies undertake the expenses and pay a royalty on the revenue from oil, as identified in the Petroleum Act 22 of 1989 and Act 30 of 1991 in the revised laws of Grenada, Section 29, subsection 2, letter F. However, renewable energy, although attractive in theory, may not be feasible in reality. Solar, wind, water, and other forms of renewable energy require a large outlay of cash by investors and customers. According to Grensol, a solar power company in Grenada, the solar systems will cost at least $21,000 per home. You have to be rich, real rich to afford that. Even GRENLEC's chief engineer said that the cost will be too exorbitant. Renewable energy sources may seem cheap, but these are heavily subsidized by their governments. The Bloomberg News published June 2008 reveals that Germany is paying 5 billion euros per year to subsidize renewable energy, and Texas will need $60 billion to subsidize wind energy. With our empty treasury, can we afford this? Mr. Chairman, in addition to royalties, the government can get a share of the oil production, which they can sell. Furthermore, these companies will have to pay 30% corporate tax. So there are many ways the government can gain revenue. Platts Oilgram, a leading publication on oil and gas in the US, identified in 2006 that the oil reserve in Grenada is estimated at US $200 billion. So we have mucho dollars to gain. With that kind of money, we could pay off our national debt. The Energy Information Administration of the US government indicates that in 2007, Russia's real gross domestic product grew by 8.1%, surpassing average growth rate in all GA countries. This growth has been driven primarily by oil export and accounts for more than 60% of its export. OPEC's net revenue as of January 2008 is US $715 billion. Similarly, the 2005 IMF report on Trinidad shows that its revenue from oil and gas exploration increased from US $80 million in 1999 to over US $700 million in 2003. Will investment in renewable energy be able to bring in this kind of revenue? Revenue from oil exploration and drilling will enable us to engage in major development on expenditure and agriculture, infrastructure, health service, and a much more. More money in the economy, more money to spend. Indonesia, an oil producer, used their revenue to build 6,000 primary schools, reconstruct roads, and subsidize rice cultivation, so the country became self-sufficient in that area. Oil exploration will provide considerable employment for Grenadians in the actual exploration on the rigs and related activities. There will be the demand for housing, office space, among others. The 2005 IMF report on Trinidad showed that between 1994 and 2003, it employed 534,000 persons in the oil industry. That is much more than the entire population of Grenada. On August 26, 2008, CNN Money reported that oil rig workers can receive $50,000 to $80,000 US per year, and engineering graduates fresh out of university can bank over 100,000 US dollars. How many of us can see this amount of revenue in our lifetime? But we can, with oil exploration. It may therefore directly or indirectly provide full employment for Grenada. Yes, honorable judges, it can transform this country forever. I thank you.